So, hey folks, warm welcome from my side. So, I am Arpit Agarwal, a student from India, and guess what? I am also a beginner. Yes, you heard it right. I am not an expert on in my topic, but yeah, I am capable enough to make you curious about my topic, which is the road from DBA to SRE. But before moving on, here are my socials. If you are interested, you can follow me. Now, let's move on. Now, why I actually want to move from DBA to SRE? Because in the previous presentation, my mate Rishabh actually incredibly uh, done the job of explaining the DBA, which is database administrator. So now I would mostly be focusing upon how you should move from DBA to SRE. What wait? Actually, why we actually require to move from DBA to SRE? What are the problem with database administrator? What are the challenges they are facing? First of all, let's talk about them. So here are some of the challenges which database administrators are facing. First of all, as you all know, all our data is being stored on cloud. Many applications are moving to cloud. Even a fun fact is your context which you use to make call is stored on cloud. If you use Google Context, tell me in the chat how many of you are using that. So the problem is most of the people, or you can say most of the applications and technologies are moving to cloud. And here comes an hybrid state. Some are on premises databases and some are on cloud. So database administrators really face a challenge when here comes to migration to cloud, because we all know there's a learning curve in understanding newer technologies. That came to my second point, which is migrate to near technology, which basically means when there's a newer technology comes, everybody has to learn it. Maybe it could be similar from the previous one, but there's a learning curve for that, which database administrators have to learn newer technology more faster. And one of the next problem is database administrators often accused of lower performance, because on cloud we are having faster servers, and due to which performance increases drastically. But on an on-premises database, that is, if you don't know what is the meaning of on-premises database, it's basically a database set up on a real estate, or you can say set up in your home, which can provide latency and lags again. And as more and more people are joining internet, and you all know how frequently people are joining internet, and due to which they are using services, due to which applications need to deploy more frequently, and administrators need to manage more data, or you can say large estates of data, which can be really a headache, because you require more and more database administrator to be hired up, trained up, and then they have to make a team and manage all these things. That can be a real headache. But now, what is the solution for that? So here's my solution. You can say this is the solution, that is SRE. Now, why SRE as a solution? Why people are proposing SRE as a solution? That is just because the problems which we address in the previous slide all are solved in this thing. Like application deployments become faster, we got a improved reliability with quality service, and we also get uh, reduced IT time. It is not a grammar, it is IT. So reduce IT time per application. That means application actually deployed much faster than they deployed on a on-premises database. So these are actually the fewer advantages of SRE. SRE, okay. SRE means site reliability engineer. What is this? This is basically means you are proposing software as a solution rather than a team of people. Uh, Due to which this becomes automated and also becomes much faster. But now some of you might have a question. Okay, you told us how SRE is good, how SRE is faster, and how, but how can we become a SRE? How can we become an site reliability engineer, and what are the skill required? Okay, sorry, I missed one slide. So this is SRE with Kubernetes. Now all the uh, all the advantages we discussed about SRE in the previous slide. This is actually what is in the back end of SRE. This is Kubernetes. And why Kubernetes, not any other technology? That is just because Kubernetes provides us with virtual data centers. You don't need to set up a virtual center at a home, or you need not to rent a place to set up massive centers. You can set up all your data centers virtually, and you can even monitor your content at the real time, which is amazing. And one of the favorite features of mine were like SRE allows you to deploy applications automatically, and even if something goes wrong, rollbacks are also possible automatically. You can roll back a version of application without touching a button on a keyboard. If something goes wrong, SRE provides you the way to roll back version automatically. And this is my favorite part: incident management. Like I talked about rolling back a application, but what if a incident happens again? Like a problem happens once, SRE rolled back it, but what if it happens again? SRE actually remembers, SRE with the combination of Kubernetes actually remembers what the problem has been arise before, and it actually learns it. So if accidentally it happens again, SRE is even more quicker than before to roll it back again. Now let's move to the skill required, and this is the most important part. If you want to become a SRE or a site reliability engineer, you should know these skills, or you should master these skills. Now, first skill in the list is CI/CD pipelines. Now, you guys remember I talked about application versions. It's nothing else like I develop an application and then I release as a version of application 2.0. That is what it is. It CI/CD pipelines actually helps you to deploy a newer version of application, and these are the steps for deploying an application. Of obviously building an application, then testing it, then after that you release the application, and before deployment is actually checked it, and when application deployed is actually without any bugs, it validated, and then it releases all across. So this is a skills you actually require, and this is a most important skill for SRE. Now moving towards the next skill, that is observability. Now if you are noticing, I write a point: observe like a doctor. And if you are wondering why in a tech word we are talking about doctors, so doctors have the amazing skills of observability. If you go to the doctor and then you tell the doctor your problem about, like, I have a fever or something else, doctor immediately catch what is the actual problem, whether you have typhoid, or you can say what is the main cause of the fever. Doctor actually observe and get that. We need actually same observability skills. If something goes wrong, you should able to detect the main cause, not all the symptoms. You should actually know why this thing is going wrong, and you should know the exact reason for that. And due to this, you actually provide faster rollbacks. Obviously, if you know what is the cause of this, you can roll back an application and uh, fastly debug it. Again, because of observability, real-time performance monitoring also increases, and debugging and optimizing workflow basically means if you want to debug an application and you know what is the main cause of it, you actually go to that piece of code to check that, and there's a high chance there's a problem. And optimizing workflow, here is a part: if your application is not running stable, the investors who had invested in it, their trust has been lost. So observability provides you to optimize your workflow. And if your workflow is optimized, you are getting higher profits, you are getting uh, higher spec. Basically, in industry, workflow optimization is most important, and it is a um, you can say it is one thing which is look upon when someone is searching for an application to work. And I have an example for that. Recently, WhatsApp got banned, and there are news for WhatsApp is getting banned. And there are apps like Signals and Telegram. They are like, we are going to take over this. But again, nothing happened. because we all know WhatsApp is stable. We can't really move to the next step very quickly. That is the power of optimized workflow, and observability allows you to maintain it. Now my third skill is knowing the code. Now, as in started, I told you I am a beginner. I also don't know much of coding, but the best way to get involved is to get involved. So I should say just get started with it, and you will find you can debug easily. You can even your understanding enhances in your organization, and it improves your performance. Not only in that organization, it boosts your confidence. It makes you happy. That is the most important thing in that, and it also uh, makes you fall in love with your work. So if you know the code, that is a much needed skill. Now let's talk about some resources, and here is a huge shout out to Patrick McFadden, because this talk is most of the inspired by his talk which he gives on last DOK day. And he is an awesome man. Just follow him on Twitter, and his talk is a great inspiration for me for this talk. And here's an article on observability that is on harrisclark.com. Just visited. They explained observability very efficiently. And here's a site for site reliability engine of Google, sl.google. And yeah, guys, jump into our DOK Slack channel. Community is awesome. Folks are awesome. They provide you with resources. If you are a beginner, they provide you with uh, confidence. And if you got stuck somewhere, we have an awesome community to help you out there. Jump into our Slack channel. And yeah, I am not leaving you like that only. I have a bonus resource for you. Yes, a bonus resource. And this resource is most important out of anything else. If you want to learn anything, this is the most common resource you should require to learn any kind of skill. And that is, let's actually reveal it. Yes, that is you. You can do it. You need to do it. And when you just get started, you will find you are growing efficiently, and your confidence level is also increasing. So just get started. The best way to get started is to get started. So just get started with it, and just get involved with our community, that is DOK. Join our Slack channel. And I am a huge fan of learning in public. So do post your learnings, what you learned from here on Twitter, on Slack, on LinkedIn, and tag me, tag DOK community. And on that note, I am ending up my talk. Here are my socials. If you are interested to follow me or have some doubts, I would be more than happy to reply you and help you out. Thank you for listening.
Very good. Excellent talk and excellent bonus message. Thank you so much for including that, Arpit. From the beginning, where you speak about being a beginner, to the end about encouraging people to get involved in the same way that you have, I really don't think we can ask for more as a community. Great feedback as well in the YouTube chat, so it's no surprise that the audience took that very well.